JW.org has an article on it entitled Protect Yourself from Misinformation. And I agree that that's a good idea. And I agree that the advice shown in the article is good advice. So it starts off saying that there's a lot of misleading news, false reports, conspiracy theories. It quotes the Secretary General of the UN about C-19, a lot of information that was spread during that time, and so on. Then it asks, how can you protect yourself from misleading information and conspiracy theories? Consider some Bible principles that can help. Now, there's an image there, and it's an image of a man thinking about things he has seen and heard. You can't see the captions on the image on the website, but if you check the code underneath, you'll see the captions there. The captions are for people who are visually impaired, and they're using software to read the web page. And the caption says, do not believe everything you see or hear. That's good advice. I agree. And then the article quotes the Bible, Proverbs 14:15. The naive person believes every word, but the shrewd one ponders each step. Now, if you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I have a question for you. Do you think it's good advice to not believe everything you see or hear? You probably agree with that. Do you think that same advice applies to the things that you read on jw.org also? It's just a viewpoint question. The next image in the article is a magnifying glass, and the captions and the code say, evaluate the source and content. Again, that's good advice. I completely agree with that. My question to you as one of Jehovah's Witnesses is, do you evaluate the source and content of what you read on jw.org? For instance, are the authors of the articles shown on jw.org? Can you go look up who they are, what their credentials are? Can you make sure that they're an expert in their field, or at least have some experience that makes what they're saying true or at least trustworthy? That's just a question I have for you. Please think about that. It then quotes the Bible again. Make sure of all things, 1 Thessalonians 5:21. I agree you should absolutely do that. And I would ask you, are you making sure of all things that you read on jw.org also? The article then goes on to talk about how to verify if something is true. It says news media companies and other organizations may slant a story because of their commercial or political bias. That's true. The article suggests compare what you see in one news outlet with other sources. That is a very good idea. Now, my question to you as one of Jehovah's Witnesses is, do you go and verify from other sources what's published on jw.org? Does the governing body, do your elders, do they suggest and support the idea of you going to verify what Watchtower has been telling you is true? Do they do that? It's just a question. And then it says to make sure the content is current and accurate, look for dates, verifiable facts, and strong evidence to support what is being said. Do you do that with the information that you receive from the Kingdom Hall and through the publications of the Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses? Watchtower is suggesting you do that, so it should be okay for you to do the same thing when it comes to the stuff that they print, shouldn't it? The next scripture it quotes is Proverbs 28:26. Whoever trusts in his own heart is stupid. And the article says, we tend to trust information that confirms what we want to believe. And internet companies often customize our news and social media feeds to offer us information based on our interests and browsing history. However, what we like to hear is not always what we need to hear. I agree with this. This is true. What the article on JW.org is saying is not wrong. So the question I would have for you is, do you exist in an echo chamber? Do you only get your information from Jehovah's Witnesses, from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society? Do you only go to the Kingdom Hall where you only get what you already believe reinforced repeatedly? Or do you have discussions with people who have a different viewpoint than yours to make sure you don't live in an echo chamber? Now, you don't have to agree with them. You absolutely don't. If you can look up what they're saying, verify that you are correct and they are not, that what you're taught by Jehovah's Witnesses is correct and what they are teaching you is wrong, that's absolutely fine. But just like the article suggests, don't get stuck in an echo chamber. You need to be getting your news and information from various sources to make sure if the one that you are looking at the most is actually true. And it's not wrong that, especially social media is terrible about this. Once its algorithm figures out what you want to hear, It keeps finding more of that and feeding it to you because that's how they make advertising revenue. The more you're in front of that screen, reading or watching or listening, the more money they make from their advertisers. So don't get stuck in an echo chamber. Ask questions, check other sources, have conversations with people who have different beliefs, and find out whether or not what you believe is correct and what they believe is incorrect. The next scripture it quotes is Exodus 23:1. You must not spread a report that is not true. And it says, remember that the information you share with others has the power to affect their thoughts and actions. Even if you unintentionally pass on wrong information, the consequences can be harmful. I agree completely with that. And that should be true of all of the information that you're taking in from wherever you're taking it in. In fact, at Acts 17:11, the Bereans are commended because they carefully checked the things that Paul said were true. Paul didn't berate them and say, I'm God's messenger. I've been appointed. You should just believe me. No, he didn't do that. They were commended for looking into the things that they were told. And should you not do the same? And is Watchtower's article here not suggesting that you, as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, do the same? They are. They're telling you that you should do that. So that should also apply to the things you learn from them, not just the things outside of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and outside of the Kingdom Hall. At the end of the article, there's a box, the truth about conspiracy theories. It defines conspiracy theories this way. A conspiracy theory is a claim that sinister and powerful groups have secretly plotted to cause a significant or tragic event. Now, it asks you as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, does the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society teach that there's a sinister character who's plotting evil things against God's people from the shadows, who controls all the governments? Does the Watchtower teach that? And does that fit their definition of a conspiracy theory as given here? The article then goes on to say, conspiracy theories can undermine trust in legitimate sources of information, and some can cause people to reject health or safety advice. Such theories can promote prejudice and violence against the group thought to be involved in the conspiracy. Now, my question to you as one of Jehovah's Witnesses is, does the Watchtower try to undermine trust in legitimate sources of information? Do they tell you that the whole world is controlled by Satan and therefore you cannot trust any information that comes out of them? You can't trust information that comes from other religions or churches either, even if they also use the Bible. You can't trust worldly wisdom when it comes to pretty much any aspect of life, though they have made a few exceptions, to be fair, when it comes to things like mental health of late. That is true. Do they encourage you to go check other sources of legitimate information, including the sources that they themselves quote and read? Because the Watchtower does very often quote from news sources, secular sources, and religious texts. So shouldn't you be okay to go also read those news sources, secular sources, and religious texts and draw your own opinions and conclusions from those things? And if not, why not? Why would the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, the governing body, the elders, why would they not want you to do the very same thing that the authors of these articles do in reading all of these various sources? You should be able to do that too, shouldn't you? They're not superior to you in any way, are they? The Watchtower doesn't teach that, do they? In fact, they teach that elders are taking a step down. The governing body are they're the faithful and discreet slave. They're servants to God's people, right? So they're not superior to you. So you should be able to do that also, shouldn't you? And the article closes by saying that conspiracy theories increase in popularity during periods of widespread anxiety, uncertainty, or hardship, states the Encyclopedia Britannica, such as during wars and economic depressions and the aftermath of natural disasters like tsunamis, earthquakes, and pandemics. My question to you as one of Jehovah's Witnesses is, should you also be careful about believing any conspiracy theories about the end of the world just because we live in turbulent times? It's just a question. You can answer that question for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. Let me close this video by saying that this is an excellent article on JW.org. I didn't read anything that I disagreed with. It says that you should be wary of misleading news, false reports, conspiracy theories. It says that you should fact check. You should check multiple sources to make sure that what you're reading is true. It says that you should evaluate the source and the content that you're looking at. It says you should make sure that that content is current and accurate. It says you shouldn't just live in an echo chamber and trust information that you want to already believe. It defines a conspiracy theory as a claim that sinister and powerful groups have secretly plotted to cause a significant or tragic event. And it says that those conspiracy theories become popular in distressing times. That is all true. But my final question to you as one of Jehovah's Witnesses is, are you also applying all of these facts that are in the JW.org article written by the people designated by the governing body, by the faithful and discreet slave? Should you apply all of those same things to what you're learning from the Watchtower? If the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and the Religion of Jehovah's Witnesses is teaching the truth, truth does not fear scrutiny. Truth should stand up to all of these checks. You should easily be able to go and look at other sources and verify that what you're being taught is true. And wouldn't that just make your faith even stronger once you were able to verify those things? But if you live in an echo chamber where you only believe what you're being told through the pages of the Watchtower and the articles on GW.org, aren't you not doing what the governing body is here telling you that you should do? You should do that. That would only make your faith stronger. If you're not doing it, how do you know you have the truth? Remember, Acts 17:11, the Bereans verified to themselves that what Paul was saying was true. And you should be verifying what you're being taught by Jehovah's Witnesses and the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is also true.